Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Corner. Welcome to Art Regner's video blog for FoxSportsDetroit.com. And today we're going to talk about the University of Michigan's basketball team and why it is important that they're the number one team in the country, at least in the AP poll, number two in the coaches poll behind the University of Kansas. Now, I understand that, especially in college basketball, and John Beilein pointed it out after the Wolverines defeated the Fighting Illini down in Champaign-Urbana on Sunday evening, that it doesn't matter where you're ranked in late January, it's how you finish. And I understand that, and that's perfectly makes sense. And I know that Michigan is taking kind of a little bit of flack from their detractors or their critics or Michigan State fans who really want to say, oh, big deal, there, you're number one, you're number one. Well, first and foremost, because we're such a number one generated society, where being number one in virtually anything is a big deal, in a strange sense, Michigan's basketball team being number one is a big deal because of this. Not because the fan base and it turns them on, and I'm sure it does, and it's a moment of, I would say, pride for the Michigan basketball team, the players, and the coaching staff, and the university to have the number one basketball team, at least in the AP, in the land. But if you look at where Michigan's basketball team has been, to where it is now, it really has come from Hades, but back from Hades, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is that I think that this is a good move because Michigan's basketball team now, with this number one ranking, is finally elevated into a status of rarefied air. Now, how long they stay there, I don't know, but they're now part of the conversation. For so long, Michigan basketball team, and you have to compliment Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans, has been really second rate compared to what Izzo has been able to do at Michigan State. Now, I'm not saying that Michigan is at the level of Michigan State yet, because I don't believe they are. However, they're now part of the conversation. That's why it was extremely important for Michigan to be number one. And let me give you an example, because they're not number one in the AP. Or they are number one, pardon me, in the AP. They're not number one in the coaches poll. Now, if the roles were reversed, if Michigan State were 19-1 and played the same schedule Michigan played, and Michigan was 17-4 and played the schedule that Michigan State played, they just flip-flopped, is what I'm trying to say, is that I believe that Michigan's basketball team wouldn't be rated number 9 in the coaches poll because they don't have the reputation. I think that they would have to fight and claw for everything they had. I think Michigan State's a very good basketball team. Matter of fact, I think they're probably better than number 9. But the climb and the ascent that they've had, I believe the coaches, because they're Michigan State, elevated them there. If Michigan had the same record, I think they'd be in the top 15. I don't think they'd be number 9. I do believe if Michigan State were 19-1 and it defeated the Fighting Illini in Champaign-Urbana, even though they're not the greatest Fighting Illini team lately that they've had, but I believe Michigan State would be number one in the coaches poll because of what they've accomplished and the history that they have. So that's why I really do believe it's extremely important for Michigan to get that number one rating. Now look, they got to play IU, and a pretty good Northwestern team in Ann Arbor. I believe it's Thursday night. They probably should beat the Wildcats. However, that Saturday night game at 9 o'clock Eastern time at Assembly Hall is going to be tough for Michigan. And they could only have it for a week. But the fact is, they had it. They had it for a week. People now, if you follow the sport, coaches will know the AP, that Michigan's basketball team is relevant again. And I think that that is important. You know, before the whole Fab Five scandal and what they've gone through during Ellerby and Amaker and, you know, the whole Steve Fisher, all that, Michigan's basketball team, it's just been, I don't say a joke, but it hasn't been top of mind. Now it's back to top of mind, which is very important because Dave Brandon, and I know a lot of people are upset with Dave Brandon. I hear it all the time from the alums at U of M and people talking to me that the big block M stands for money. It doesn't stand for Michigan. Too much Dave Brandon, not enough University of Michigan. I hear it all the time. Dave Brandon's goal is to elevate Michigan to the number one spot, the number one athletic department in the country, on the field and off the field, through revenue and innovation and everything that they're doing. You could say and I use this term loosely because I don't want to offend anybody out there, he could be a modern-day Don Canham as far as trying to reinvent modern-day college athletics. I mean, he could, but I think Mark Hollis over at State is doing a pretty damn good job too. But with that said, I know it doesn't mean much, and if it were a team like Kansas or Michigan State or Duke or North Carolina that is there, Syracuse, year in and year out, a number one ranking doesn't mean much in January. But if you're the University of Michigan and you're trying to reestablish yourself again, then the number one ranking means a lot. Whether it's for a week or for the remainder of the season and they win the national championship, this is good news for Michigan. This is good news for John Beilein. I congratulate John Beilein and the Michigan basketball team. Even though it's kind of a cosmetic rating, it doesn't mean much. As far as being now part of the conversation, it means everything. So there you have it. That's why I think it's important for Michigan to be number one in the country in college basketball. Until we meet again, which will be tomorrow, the Lions making some personnel moves. Well, we'll talk about that and so much more. Have a safe and pleasant one, everyone. I'm Art Regner for FoxSportsDetroit.com. Remember, you're always welcome in the Sports Corner. Bye-bye.